So, good morning, everyone. I'm the first presenters. So, I'm gonna talk all about what is gender. Gender refers to your sense of who you are as a girl or a guy, or something else as opposite to what your physical characteristic genes and hormones indicated. Identifying your gender can be more diverse than simply seeing yourself as a male or female. And people express their gender in different ways. Like kung sa gay, example like sa gay, ila express ang ilang gender as magsulob sila pinababay. Mga is a gay. Then how does gender role affect your self concept? The self concept is the set of beliefs, thoughts, and attitudes that one heeded about oneself by that individual. It can also be reference to as how an individual refers himself. The self-concept is typically developed through socialization process, sometimes very early in one's life. For example, during infancy, the gender role are the set of norms developed within the society about it means to be a particular gender, or what behaviors make someone's manly or womanly. And that's all. Thank you.
Hello guys, I'm Christopher De Venencia, and now let's talk about gender stereotyping. What is gender stereotyping? A gender stereotype is a generalized view or preconception about attributes or characteristics that are or ought to be possessed by women and men, or the roles that are or should be performed by men and women. Gender stereotypes can be both positive and negative. For example, women are nurturing or women are weak. Where do gender stereotypes come from? Gender stereotypes are complex and originate from local culture and traditions. Children learn what constitutes female and male behavior from their family and friends, the media and institutions, including schools and religious bodies. Gender stereotypes can have an adverse effect on all genders, as young people find themselves regularly exposed to messages about how boys and girls should look, behave, and play. These socially accepted and often unconscious ideas start to form in infancy. And there's also a effect of gender stereotyping. For example, for me, gender stereotyping has a negative effect. Why? Because it affects my self-perception, my attitudes to relationship with others. For example, in school environment, it can affect my classroom experience and academic performance, subject choice, and well-being. The assumptions we make about boys and girls may be unconscious or unconscious and can result in students being treated differently or offered different opportunities based on their gender. And now, let's talk about the stereotypes and unconscious bias. Gender stereotyping results from unconscious biases held by all of us. Unconscious bias happens when our subconscious makes assumptions about people based on their background or perceived background. Everyone has unconscious biases. An individual can be unconsciously influenced by a stereotype even if they do not rationally subscribe to it. Becoming aware of our biases and working to counter them is an important way to combat the negative effects of gender stereotypes. Unconscious bias arises because we have to process vast amounts of information every second. In order to avoid being overwhelmed, our brains have to make assumptions based on previous experience and find patterns to speed up decision making. And that's all.
Hi, I'm Jevon Marv Perez, and I'm going to tackle about, or I'm going to report about, what affects the gender of an individual. So, how being male or female can affect an individual. So, the answer or the response to this question could have a significant impact on your overall health, despite the fact that both sexes are similar in many ways. Researchers have discovered that sex and social factors can affect your risk of having a disease. How well you respond to medications and how often you seek medical care. That's why researchers are looking into the connections between sex, gender, and health. Based on what I have researched, some women set themselves or they set themselves in high standards, like verging on perfectionism and tendency to wonder if they're doing enough or could be better. This tendency that woman or girl are more likely to exhibit. It was noticeable how much context made a difference to the way women experience the potential of advantages, disadvantages, or insignificance of their gender. There was a talk or progress departments, excellent leaderships, visible sponsorships, and support from those senior to them. All of this led to women feeling more able to bring their talent to the fore and being recognized for doing so. Being able to see a range of a varied role models, including women, thriving in their discipline or area also provide a genuine basis on which to be positive about their prospects. Several women talk about feeling accepted and valued in one part of their working lives, perhaps in their team or research group, and far less so in others. So next is how does gender affects behavior? So gender norms influence women to perform behaviors in stereotypical less masculine ways and men to perform them in stereotypical more masculine ways. Accordingly, if masculine performance increased testosterone, men's stereotypical more masculine performance of behavior may lead to more increase in testosterones. Taking this approach, the researchers are actually found gender difference from for every one of 10 aspects of personality that they looked at. Women scored higher on average on enthusiasm, compassion, politeness, orderliness, and volatility, and withdrawal, and openness, while men scored higher on assertiveness. So that's all. Thank you.
So, good morning everyone. This is the fourth presenter of Group 5. So, let's tackle about the topic of gender and sexuality online. First question, does gender affect personality? Yes, because influence of gender on personality, brain structure, relationships. Previous studies have shown that males and females different in personal, in particular gender difference have been reported for neuroticism and agreeableness. Costa et al. 2000 with women scoring higher on these two traits than men. So, examples are males and females different in personal. O sa male base the feelings mahibog sila babay. So, ug sa female mahibog sad sila laki. So, second is difference between gender and personality. Personality is often conceptualized as the extent to which someone displays high or low levels of specific traits, and gender difference in personality traits are often characterized in terms of which gender has higher scores on the trait on average. So example sa gender kay kanang ana siya nga ang mga babae mas dali mauyonan kasagaran kontra natong mga laki. So pasabot ana kabantay ka sa mga babae nga mas capable sila in terms of amuma like sa atong mga mama. So ingon ana naghisgot man tag high score on the trait. So pasabot ang mga babae nga mas taas ilang average sa pag-amama kaysa natong mga laki. So mura bitaw og mas papel sa mga babae na kaya jud sila. Din sa mga lalaki kita nga mga laki mas naa na tong responsibilidad ang motrabaho para sa pamilya. So kana bitaw mas kusgan ta kaysa maiso sa inana na pagi mas taas atong average kaysa babae. So daghan pa. So ikaw para nimo unsa mas higher nimo nya personality kontra sa babae ug unsa pud high sa babae nga lower sa imo? Ya sa personality which example sa personality which mga feelings, mga behavior, mga beliefs, mga patience kanang mga kinaiya gyud nato gud unsay mga personality kay kanang iya ra batag lawas. So mao na to. Thank you.
Hi, by the way, this is Don Cataldo, and yeah, in today's video, I'm going to discuss to you what is sexuality. So, alright, by the way, human sexuality is the way people experience and express themselves sexually, and this involves biological, erotic, physical, emotional, social, or spiritual feelings and behaviors. So, because it is a broad term, which varied with historical context over time, so it lacks a precise definition. So the biological and physical aspect of sexuality largely concern the human reproductive functions, including the human sexual response cycle. And also there are a lot of factors that affect adolescent sexuality, and they could be cultural, undue exposure, need acts, peer pressure, adventure, drug, and sheer wild experiment top in the charts in this regard. And sexual interest may be expressed in numbers of ways, such as flirting, kissing, masturbation, or having sex with a partner. And among adolescent or as among adult can vary greatly and influenced by cultural norms or mores, sex education, as well as comprehensive sexuality education provided. And then there also include sexual orientation and social controls, such as age of consent laws. And sexual activity in general is associated with various risks. The risk of sexual intercourse include unwanted pregnancy and contracting sexually transmitted infections such as HIV or AIDS, or which can be reduced with availability and use of a condom or adopting other safe sex practices. So contraceptives especially reduce the chance of pregnancy. And next is it followed also hormones to the human body release powerful hormones in the brains of men and women during sexual activity, including the neurohormones oxytocin and vasopressin. So women are more sensitive to the effect of oxytocin, a hormone that is also found to be a bonding hormone released during childbirth and nursing. So during sexual activity, as oxytocin is released, it's an act of emotional super glue between partners. So men, on the other hand, are more affected by vasopressin, which similarly helps a man bond to his partner and instills a productive instinct toward his partner actually. And lastly, there are also personality and temperament will be involved also to this, or having sex. It can be defined. So when it comes to personality, it can be defined as a pattern of behavior, thoughts, and emotion that differs from individual to individual, and the behavioral characteristic of a person in different situations. referred as personality traits. So personality is generally segregated into five components, which are dubbed with the big five, and this includes the extroversion, agreeableness, conscientiousness, as well as the neuroticism and openness to experience. So personality reflects on what you have learned over the years. And next is temperament. Unlike the aforementioned, so it indicates the different personality aspects of an individual, and a person's temperament is innate and cannot learn it. So a person builds his personality in projection of his personality. If your temperament is your canvas, so your personality is what you paint on the canvas in general. How the person behaves emotionally defines his temperament. So one's temperament can be let one know about positive and negatives, so it is definitely under one's own control. So therefore one can work improving his temperament even though it is inherent. And the differences of the two is a person can only himself work on developing his personality. So multiple factors including socialization, irritability, education, and peer pressure that maybe play a notable role in shaping personality of a person. But when it comes to temperament, the major part developing is played by individual's parent. And while temperament it hints at the way you behave in particular situation, your personality describes what you behave that way. So that's all.
Hi, good morning. My name is Galvin, and I was tasked to discuss about social environmental factors on gender sexuality and media and internet factors on gender sexuality. The first thing is I will go ahead and discuss about the first factor, which is the social and environmental factors on gender sexuality. Social factors includes regarding ideas, the gender roles conveyed by family, authority figures, mass media, and other influential people in a child's life. There are various studies suggest that both biological and environmental variables may play a role in a transgender development. Next is media and internet factors on gender and sexuality. The media tends to demean men in caring or domestic roles, or those who oppose the violence, such as portrayals can influence perception in terms of what society may expect from men and women, but also what they may expect from themselves. They promote an unbalanced vision of the roles of women and men in society. Internet factors sexuality can have an impact on sexual attitudes and identities. The sexual socialization of children and adolescents, gender relation, the social position and political activism of sexual minorities, the inclusion of people with disabilities, the spread of sexual transmitted infections, and sexual satisfaction. Those are the following effects of internet and gender and sexuality. Studies found that the use of internet can be result in the productive of sexual attitude and behavioral orientation of young adults. In addition, findings also of the study state that frequent use of internet was significantly associated with the practice of the use of sexually explicit sites such as pornographies, any other malicious activities using different sites, especially with the help of internet. And those are the social and environmental factors, media and internet factors regarding gender and sexuality.
So hello sir, my name is Lomer James Alalim, and now we'll tackle about the sexual orientation. So what is sexual orientation? So sexual orientation is about who you're attracted to and what to have relationships with. Sexual orientations include gay, lesbian, straight, bisexual, and asexual. So today we'll just tackle about the three common sexual orientation. So first, heterosexuality. So what is heterosexuality? So heterosexuality is attraction to people of the opposite sex when when men who are attracted to women and women who are attracted to men are heterosexual. So heterosexuality is romantic attraction, and sexual attractions or sexual behavior between persons of the opposite sex or gender. As a sexual orientation, heterosexuality is an enduring pattern of emotional, romantic, and or sexual attractions to persons of the opposite sex. It also refers to a person's sense of identity based on those attractions, related behaviors, and membership in a community of others who shares those attractions. Someone who is heterosexual is commonly referred to as straight. Along with bisexuality and homosexuality, heterosexuality is one of the three main categories of sexual orientations within the heterosexual-homosexual continuum. Across cultures, most people are heterosexual, and heterosexual activity is by far the most common type of sexual activity. Scientists do not know the exact cause of sexual orientation, but they theorize that it is caused by a complex interplay of genetic, hormonal, and environmental influences, and do not view it as a choice. Although no single theory of the cause of sexual orientation has yet gained widespread support, scientists favor biologically based theories. The, there, there is considerably more evidence supporting non-social biological causes of social orientation than social ones, especially for males. So the second one is homosexuality. So homosexuality is sexual interest and the attraction to members of one's own sex. The term gay is frequently used as a synonym for homosexual. Female homosexuality is often referred to as lesbianism. As different times and in different cultures, homosexual behavior has been various approved, tolerated, punished, and banned. Homosexuality was not uncommon in ancient Greece and Rome. And the relationship between adult and adolescent males, in particular, have become a chief of focus of Western classicists in recent years. So the third one is bisexuality. So bisexuality is a romantic attractions or sexual behavior toward both males and females, or to more than one gender. It may also be defined to include romantic or sexual attraction to people regardless of their sex or gender identity, which is also known as pansexuality. The term bisexuality is mainly used in the context of human attractions to denote romantic or sexual feelings toward both men and women. The concept is one of the three main classifications of sexual orientation along with heterosexual and homosexuality, all of which exist on the heterosexual-homosexual continuum. A bisexual identity does not necessarily equate or to equal sexual attraction to both sexes. Commonly, people who have a distinct but not exclusive sexual preference for one sex over the other also identify themselves as bisexual.